Roman Reigns to form Super Bloodline team up with his ex-rival for the first time ever. Potential explored. Hello guys. Welcome to my channel. I am Elena. Have a nice day. For the latest news update, please subscribe the channel and press the bell icon. Roman Reigns made his blockbuster return to WWE on Raw this week, saving Jey Uso and CM Punk from an assault by Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed, after Punk won a shot at Gunther's World Heavyweight Championship at SummerSlam. While Punk and Reigns' relationship status remains a mystery, Roman Reigns and Jey Uso seem to be back together, and they may even team up at SummerSlam to take on the Braun duo. In an alternative direction, Reigns may go one-on-one with Breaker at the biggest party of the summer. Nevertheless, with Sami Zayn also part of the resistance against Seth Rollins' group, and rumors that the Visionary may not be legitimately injured after all, and he and his oracle, Paul Heyman, may have architected a scheme for the ages, an all-out faction war with Seth Rollins on one side and Roman Reigns and potentially CM Punk on the other may be in the works. To combat Rollins and more of his potential allies, MFTs, John Cena, Drew McIntyre, a heel Randy Orton, Cody Rhodes, etc., across Raw and SmackDown, Reigns, Uso, and Zayn may need backup, and while names like Cody Rhodes and LA Knight may be viable options, another interesting route could see Reigns form a Super Bloodline with the addition of Jimmy Uso and former rival Jacob Fatu, who is now one of the most popular baby faces on SmackDown. Leading up to Survivor Series War Games, WWE has a ton of directions it may take, building off what happens at SummerSlam, but given the precedent, the OG Bloodline being involved in some sort of fashion remains quite plausible. However, a lot of stars would have to align for Reigns, Fatu, and the three USOs, Sami included, to reunite in time for Survivor Series and for the team on the opposite end of the conflict to make sense. When Roman Reigns returned at SummerSlam 2024, a prospective match against Jacob Fatu was teased multiple times. Their stare-downs elicited blockbuster responses from the WWE Universe, and a feud between the two was reportedly a possibility for WrestleMania. But Fatu, much like experts such as Jim Cornette had predicted, got over as a crowd favorite too much and too soon. While he may be a babyface right now, his alliance with Roman Reigns could spawn a betrayal, a heel turn, and then a passing of the torch feud between the original tribal chief and the Samoan werewolf could be one of Reigns' final and most important rivalries as an active wrestler. Except for John Cena, Reigns is arguably the biggest star in the business today, perhaps with only CM Punk in that discussion. For Jacob Fatu to overcome and destroy the head of the table, potentially sending him packing for good, would be the ultimate move to establish him as the future of the anoa'i Fatu clan and one of the cornerstones of WWE for years to come. For Reigns, Fatu will be one of the marquee opponents whom he has yet to face, and among the few young talents he may put over, with Braun Breaker seemingly at the top of that list. WWE News and Rumor Roundup, two-time champion gets arrested. Roman Reigns replacements revealed. Unfortunate Jey Uso update. Welcome to the WWE News and Rumor Roundup for July 19th, 2025. Today we'll examine the arrest of a two-time champion, Roman Reigns' replacements in the Stamford-based promotion, and scrapped plans for Jey Uso. Unfortunate Jey Uso update ahead of WWE SummerSlam reports. Jey Uso's singles run reached its peak heading into WrestleMania 41 when main event Jey won the 2025 Men's Royal Rumble match and captured the World Heavyweight Championship from Gunther in Las Vegas. Unfortunately, his title run was ended in less than 2 months by the Ring General, according to the Wrestling Observer newsletter, War 1. Management had plans for USO to take on Bronson Reed at SummerSlam. Unfortunately, those plans are now either scrapped or altered following Roman Reigns' return, and main event Jey will likely team up with his cousin at the event. Uso's singles run might be on hold if he teams up with Reigns against Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed at SummerSlam. 2025. Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss will compete at WWE SummerSlam 2025. The Allies of Convenience, aka Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss, had a strong start in the women's division on Friday Night SmackDown. Sadly, they didn't win the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship at Evolution in Atlanta, but they weren't the ones who took the final pinfall in the fatal four-way match. On the most recent edition of WWE SmackDown, the Queen met the Goddess, and informed her that the two have a title match against the Judgment Day's Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez at the biggest party of the summer in New Jersey. WWE intends to replace Roman Reigns and others with a few notable names, reports. The company selected Roman Reigns as the new face of the Stamford-based promotion over a decade ago. The 40-year-old star is now a part-time performer, and the company reportedly has an interest in establishing new main event faces in the promotion. According to the Wrestling Observer newsletter, WON, the company is looking to cement stars such as Rhea Ripley, Braun Breaker, and Jacob Fatu as the next generation of main eventers. While there could be several reasons behind it, names like Roman Reigns, CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, and more have either reached or crossed 40, and the company intends to establish younger talent in the main event scene and as new faces of WWE. As of now, Ripley, Fatu, and Breaker are at the top of the card and dominating their divisions on WWE's main roster. Cody Rhodes versus John Cena gets a stipulation ahead of WWE SummerSlam 2025. On the most recent edition of Friday Night SmackDown, Cody Rhodes and John Cena were set to have a contract signing segment for their upcoming title match. However, Cena had no intention and gave excuses to back out of the title match at the biggest party of the summer in New Jersey. Instead, the two got in a brawl, and the American Nightmare hit the franchise player with the title and put him through a table. Moreover, he made an unconscious John Cena sign the dotted line for SummerSlam and revealed that the upcoming title match was going to be a street fight. Solo Sakoa gets arrested on WWE SmackDown. SmackDown started with a bang as a car accident opened the show involving Solo Sakoa and his MFTs. The storyline progressed as the show went on, and Jacob Fatu was taken away by the local authorities. Meanwhile, the former North American champion accused the Samoan werewolf of the attack and called him a criminal. Later, the former United States champion confronted the MFTs and brawled with the faction alongside Jimmy USO. The local authorities returned and arrested Solo Sikoa for trying to frame Jacob Fatu. Moreover, Adam Pearce revealed that Sikoa would defend his title inside a steel cage at SummerSlam in New Jersey against Fatu. The angle was done to further the storyline between the two, and it'll be interesting to see how Sakoa gets out ahead of his title match in New Jersey. How Solo Sikoa's WWE push might have been connected to The Rock Solo. Sakoa took over the Bloodline following WrestleMania 39. He battled Roman Reigns for the Ula Fala, but ultimately succumbed to Reigns' dominance. Currently, the Street Champion has formed his faction named MFT, with Tala Tonga, JC Mateo, and Tonga Loa. Tama Tonga is yet to return to WWE, and it is expected he will join Sakoa upon return. Sakoa taking over the Bloodline was unexpected, since the idea was that The Rock and Roman Reigns would have a power struggle over the tribal chief throne. Solo Sikoa is possibly a replacement for The Rock. Actor O'Shea Jackson Jr. made an interesting observation about the Street Champion propelling to the top after WrestleMania 39. He claimed that The Rock dipped, and that forced Triple H and team to pivot from their original plans of a power struggle between the final boss and Roman Reigns and use Solo Sikoa instead. After the WrestleMania 39 thing, and it was kind of like the final boss situation when him joining the Bloodline, the thing that they did with Solo and the new Bloodline. Kind of felt like what they were supposed to be doing with The Rock and Roman, of having just like The Rock with the new Bloodline, Roman with the OG Bloodline. But then it kind of felt like Rock dipped, and they gave it to Solo. And Solo has been doing great. He's hilarious. HT, ChrisVanVliet.com. Currently, Roman Reigns and JUSO are engaged in a feud with Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman's faction, while Solo Sikoa and company are battling Jacob Fatu and Jimmy Uso. Real Life Bloodline. Member gives Roman Reigns. A new WWE name, Roman Reigns, has gained several nicknames throughout his WWE career. The most notable and recent being the Tribal Chief, followed by the Head of the Table. After his recent Raw return, where he attacked Paul Heyman's new faction, he debuted a new moniker, OTC1. However, Rikishi also thought of another one for the former Undisputed Champion. In the latest Rikishi Fatu's Off the Top podcast, the titular legend was asked if he thinks Roman Reigns will be involved in a tag team match for SummerSlam. The Hall of Famer answered that he thinks the Tribal Chief will be in a singles match, but referred to the latter as God Mode. Do I think God Mode needs to be in a tag? No, I don't. God Mode stands alone. That's his new name, what I'm going to call him. God mode, right? Everybody calls him OTC one now. I think it is, and I'm going to call him God mode because he's good for business. He's the one that make things happen. He's the one that opens up opportunity not only for the company, but for everybody. God mode is not a new phrase or nickname linked to Roman, as it's also one of the catchphrases he has been using since becoming the tribal chief, along with acknowledge me. This term generally refers to Reigns being unstoppable and dominant. Roman Reigns doesn't need anybody else at WWE SummerSlam. Although the former undisputed champion has been associated with many tag teams and partnerships throughout the years, the most recent being the Bloodline, he is also just as successful as a solo star since becoming the tribal chief, something that Rikishi agrees with. In the same podcast, the Hall of Famer added that WWE and the rest of the locker room should be thanking Roman for their success. He continued that Reigns doesn't need a pile with him and should explore opponents for SummerSlam. Y'all make money and y'all should be thanking him, you know? You know, when God walks through you, he walks, man. He don't walk with a pile, man, you know? He can be all right, but he don't need it in my book.